Most men talk. Most men chase. Most men fail. They drown conversations in words, jokes, and desperate charm, hoping to impress, hoping to be noticed. Yet they remain invisible. They think connection is earned with effort. They are wrong. There is a method, a hidden art of influence, a way to make women reveal themselves, to make them trust you, to make them desire your presence, without performing, without chasing, without giving away your power. This is not small talk. This is not what you see in glossy magazines or endless dating guides. This is Machiavellian psychology in action. For centuries, the greatest minds understood one unshakable truth. The right question, asked at the perfect moment, can bend perception, ignite curiosity, and create a fascination so strong it lingers long after you've walked away. Today, you won't just learn questions. You'll discover 15 psychologically engineered tools, questions designed to probe her mind, stir hidden emotions, and place you silently at the center of her attention. Questions that make her think. Questions that make her reveal herself. Questions that make her crave your presence. Most men will never understand this. Most men will never even notice it exists. But you're about to step into a world they will never see. Before we dive in, it's crucial to understand why questions hold such power. Humans are wired for intrigue. Our minds respond instinctively to subtle guidance, emotional cues, and the pull of curiosity. The right question does more than spark conversation. It draws someone into your mental orbit, guiding their thoughts, steering their attention, and creating a space where they reveal themselves willingly. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. Influence is rarely direct, and it is never about force. True power lies in shaping perception, stirring curiosity, and evoking desire. And every question you ask can accomplish this when used with precision. The 15 questions you're about to learn are not random. They fall into 3 strategic categories. Curiosity questions ignite intrigue, uncover dreams, and reveal personality. Emotional questions foster resonance, subtle attachment, and trust. And power questions position you as confident, mysterious, and irresistible without ever appearing aggressive. Used strategically, these questions become far more than simple conversation. They are instruments of psychological influence, drawing out thoughts and feelings she might never share with anyone else, while silently placing you at the center of her attention. The first set of questions, what we will call curiosity questions, is designed with precision. These are not casual small talk. These are the subtle, psychological instruments that allow you to map a person's inner landscape without her realizing she is being mapped. The goal is simple, yet profound. Uncover personality, desires, emotional drivers, and hidden fears, all while maintaining the posture of effortless curiosity. Begin with a question like, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be and why? On the surface, it appears harmless, almost playful. She might answer with Paris, Bali, or a quiet cabin in the mountains, and most men would stop there, nod, and move on. But the key is in the why. This is where the mask slips. Is she drawn to adventure and the unknown, suggesting a restless, curious spirit? Or does she value security, structure, and comfort, signaling a cautious, measured personality? Perhaps freedom, the ability to escape constraints, is what calls to her. Every nuance, every hesitation, every spark of passion in her answer is a clue. You are now quietly mapping her emotional and psychological priorities, creating a mental blueprint of her inner world. This is not just curiosity, it is strategic observation. Next, ask, what's a belief you used to have that you've completely changed? This is more than a question. It is a mirror held up to her growth. People often hide their transformations because admitting change feels like vulnerability. But this question invites her to step into that space willingly. Her answer will reveal her capacity for reflection, her openness to new ideas, and her ability to evolve. If she speaks of letting go of fear, embracing independence, or challenging past assumptions, you immediately understand her resilience and adaptability. You also position yourself as someone who appreciates depth, someone who notices transformation rather than just surface-level appearances. Then, move to who in your life has influenced you the most. Here, you are not merely gathering names. You are discerning her emotional anchors. Is it a parent, suggesting strong familial loyalty? A mentor, pointing to ambition and intellect? A friend, revealing a social, relational mindset? Her answer subtly exposes what she values most and who shapes her emotional framework. By listening attentively, you are quietly signaling empathy and emotional intelligence, qualities that are inherently magnetic when wielded strategically. You are not just curious, you are perceptive. Follow this with, if you could master any skill instantly, what would it be? This question peels back the veil on ambition, desire, and latent dreams. Perhaps she desires mastery over creativity, showing a need for self-expression. Maybe it's power, influence, or control, hinting at strategic thinking and drive. The beauty of this question is that it positions you as aligned with her hidden ambitions without ever revealing your own intentions. You are not interrogating, you are exploring. You are creating a space where her secret motivations and desires can emerge naturally, like a candle flame drawn to a calm observer. Finally, ask, what's the most unusual experience you've ever had? Humans are inherently drawn to stories, especially those that reveal risk, novelty, or extraordinary moments. This is not a mere anecdote. It is a window into her willingness to take risks, embrace adventure, or defy norms. She may recount a thrilling trip, a dangerous encounter, or a bizarre twist of fate. Each story is a thread, and as you listen, you are weaving these threads into a tapestry of fascination. By paying attention, reacting subtly, and holding space, you position yourself as someone who values uniqueness, someone capable of holding intrigue without forcing it. Each answer is more than just information. It is a seed of shared intrigue. Every story, every hidden desire, every subtle admission of fear or ambition becomes part of a silent dialogue, a conversation of unspoken understanding. You are no longer merely asking questions. You are shaping perception, creating fascination, and establishing a presence that lingers in her mind long after the conversation ends. This is the art of curiosity questions, a strategic blend of attentiveness, subtlety, and psychological insight. You are quiet, patient, observant, and in that quiet, the power of your presence grows. You are no longer just a participant in conversation. You are a silent architect of attraction, mapping her inner world while revealing nothing of your own. And in doing so, you hold the subtle, irresistible power of intrigue, an influence that many chase, but few ever truly command. The second set of questions, emotional questions, is crafted with deliberate precision. While the first set mapped her inner world, these are designed to do something far more potent. They build attachment, resonance, and subtle emotional imprinting. This is where mere conversation becomes influence, where every word, pause, and gesture begins to weave you into her emotional landscape. Begin with, what memory instantly makes you smile no matter what? On the surface, it seems light, playful, innocent. But every smile is a silent signature. By eliciting a positive emotion, You are creating an invisible association, linking her warmth, joy, and the glow of memory to your presence. Each laugh, each softening of her eyes, is a subtle imprint that whispers, "This person makes me feel something rare." This is the foundation of emotional resonance, the quiet art of becoming unforgettable without trying. Next, ask, "What's something you wish more people understood about you?" This question pierces the veil of casual interactions. Vulnerability, the kind most people never share, begins to surface. She may reveal fears, desires, quirks, or principles she has hidden for years. In this moment, you are no longer just another face in the crowd. You are the one who notices complexity, who acknowledges layers others overlook. The simple act of listening carefully signals empathy, but strategic empathy, the kind that cultivates trust and attachment while silently establishing your presence as someone rare, someone discerning. Follow with, "What's a fear you've overcome that changed you?" This question triggers a display of resilience, courage, and personal growth. By prompting her to reflect on struggles she has conquered, you illuminate her strength without judgment. And as she shares, your attentive listening positions you as a witness to her quiet heroism. You are not just conversing, you are acknowledging the battles she has fought, giving weight to her victories, and in doing so, she begins to link that feeling of strength to you. Your presence becomes a silent marker of admiration and respect, an imprint that lingers because it is tied to her sense of self. Then ask, "If you could relive one day from your past, which would it be?" Nostalgia is a subtle, potent emotional tool. Memories of profound joy, adventure, or intimacy pull her inward, and in that inward gaze, you are present. You are not just a questioner, you are an emotional companion, temporarily entering the sanctum of her most cherished moments. This creates a bond so quiet and nuanced that it often passes unnoticed, but it works at a subconscious level. Emotional attachment begins to form, anchored not in superficial attraction, but in the resonance of shared experience and understanding. Finally, guide her to reflection with, "What kind of legacy do you want to leave?" This question subtly elevates the conversation into realms few men ever reach. It shifts her focus to influence, significance, and the broader meaning of life. By engaging in this rarefied mental space, you signal intelligence, vision, and depth. She begins to perceive you as someone who contemplates power, purpose, and human potential, the kind of thinking that separates the ordinary from the exceptional. In these moments, her subconscious begins to anchor admiration, respect, and intrigue toward you, often without her ever realizing why. Each question in this set functions like a carefully placed psychological brushstroke, painting a picture of trust, resonance, and subtle attachment. By asking, listening, and responding with quiet presence, you create a space where vulnerability meets curiosity, where nostalgia meets insight, where reflection meets subtle influence. You are no longer a casual participant in the conversation. You are an architect of emotional depth, a silent force that begins to shape perception and linger in memory. This is the mastery of emotional questions, creating bonds that feel effortless yet are deliberately designed, fostering resonance, respect, and a quiet but undeniable attachment. Where most men chatter and perform, you are still observant and powerful, an invisible architect of influence operating at the level of emotion and subconscious memory. Every smile, every pause, every revelation becomes a thread connecting her to you, weaving intrigue and respect that endure long after the conversation ends. The final set, power or control questions, is where the conversation reaches its highest level of psychological sophistication. While curiosity questions mapped her inner world and emotional questions built attachment and resonance, this set introduces intrigue, subtle dominance, and fascination. Here, you are not merely listening, you are shaping perception, signaling intelligence, and planting the seeds of subconscious influence. Begin with, how would you describe someone who truly has power in life? At first glance, it seems like an abstract, harmless question, but it is far from it. Here, she is projecting her ideals of authority, her unspoken understanding of control, influence, and dominance. Does she admire charisma, wealth, intellect, decisiveness, or subtlety? Every word she chooses reveals the framework of her mental map regarding power. By listening carefully, you gain insight into what she unconsciously values in leaders and in men. You can then subtly align with her vision, showing that you embody certain elements of it, or create contrast, positioning yourself as a rare, unconventional force she cannot categorize. Both strategies silently elevate your influence. Next, ask. If someone could predict your next move, what would they say? This question triggers fascination because it illuminates her perception of predictability and control, two forces humans are instinctively drawn to and wary of. By framing the conversation around her perspective on foresight, you introduce unpredictability as your silent weapon. Every pause, every carefully chosen word you offer after her answer adds layers of complexity to your persona. She begins to see you as someone difficult to read, multi-layered, and inherently compelling, a figure whose subtle mystery demands attention. Then ask, what's something people misunderstand about you? Complexity attracts, and this question encourages her to reveal layers she usually hides. As she discloses nuance, contradiction, or subtleties in her personality, you signal that you are capable of perceiving depth, an instinctively magnetic trait. You are not pressing. You are observing, understanding, and registering the hidden dimensions of her mind. This unspoken acknowledgement creates subconscious intrigue, positioning you as a figure of quiet authority who notices what others overlook. Follow with, if someone could influence your decisions without you realizing, who would it be? Here, vulnerabilities begin to surface. She reflects on the subtle forces shaping her choices, exposing decision-making patterns and the invisible hands she unconsciously obeys. By listening attentively and responding with gentle curiosity rather than judgment, you create mental alignment. She feels understood, even mentally connected to you, without ever realizing the influence being seeded. This is a psychological dance. She reveals, you absorb, and the dynamic positions you as someone perceptive, insightful, and quietly commanding. Finally, elevate the conversation with, what do you think people secretly desire most in life? This question transitions the dialogue to a philosophical plane. She begins to ponder ambition, fulfillment, love, control, or meaning, concepts few men dare to navigate intelligently. In responding, you subtly guide the flow of thought, positioning yourself as insightful, strategic, and quietly authoritative. She begins to unconsciously align her thinking with yours because the conversation now operates on a level of intellect and reflection that transcends superficial connection. Influence has become invisible but potent, operating through subtle guidance, intellectual resonance, and psychological authority. Each question in this set is more than a prompt. It is a tool for subtle dominance, intrigue, and fascination. You are not coercing, not performing, yet your presence, attentiveness, and strategic curiosity create a gravitational pull. She begins to perceive you as complex, intelligent, and powerful, without ever recognizing the method behind it. Your influence is quiet, deliberate, and irresistible, a force that lingers in thought, shapes perception, and cements a magnetic imprint long after the conversation has ended. This is the mastery of power and control questions. Understanding the subtle architecture of influence, guiding thought without force, and creating fascination through presence, insight, and nuanced perception. Where most men chase, perform, or plead, you observe, listen, and silently shape reality. Influence, like power, is invisible, but it is infinitely more effective when wielded with precision. Timing is everything. You never unleash all 15 questions at once. This is not an interrogation, it is orchestration. Let the questions weave naturally into conversation, allow pauses to breathe, and let the dialogue ebb and flow. Mirror her energy, but always remain calm, composed, and detached. Ask from curiosity, not neediness. Listen closely, because her answers are more than words. They are breadcrumbs. Use them to craft shared stories, playful commentary, and subtle moments of intrigue. Every story she tells draws her one step deeper into fascination. Watch her reactions carefully. The lingering glance, the faint shift in tone, the micro-pause before she speaks. These are the invisible markers of psychological engagement. True influence is never loud. It is silent, invisible, and relentless, a force she feels before she even realizes it exists. These 15 questions are far more than simple conversation starters. They are instruments of influence. They make her reveal herself, trust you, and even desire your presence. Most men will never understand this. They chase, perform, and fade into obscurity. But you now hold the map. Ask with genuine curiosity. Listen with razor-sharp attention. Guide subtly, influence silently. Watch as women open, linger, and begin to orbit around your presence without realizing why. Each question is a key. Some will unlock laughter, some reflection, some longing. Observe carefully, learn, and refine. Command influence quietly, strategically, and relentlessly, while remaining untouchable, always composed, and always several steps ahead.